And welcome everybody, or continued hello to people who have been here since the morning. Now it's time for guided meditation, where you can fall asleep and kind of look like you're meditating. So here's your chance. Anyway, I thought since we've been talking about sense restraint all day long, which from a kind of like explain it with PowerPoint and all that maybe it's good to just do a meditation where we actually practice some of the stuff we talked about earlier. And it's often not a practice we usually do when we sit down. We always think, oh, sitting down meditation is you watch the breath, you get quiet and peaceful and still, and that's one kind of meditation. But we can also sometimes use our awareness of our sense organs and sense contact that is arising through them as a way to ground ourselves in the present moment in a really easy way. The breath is very subtle, so your mind actually has to be prepared to a certain level of mindfulness to be able to stay with the breath. And Ajahn Brahm, the way he teaches meditation, he always starts out with present moment awareness. And usually lately, in recent years, he's taught it becoming mindful of the body and how it feels. And that's one, if you think about it, that's one organ of sense contact, which is through the body. So that's something that we might be familiar with by doing body scans or relaxing different parts of the body. So we can start with that. But then today I thought, let's try something beyond that. We're just working with the contact we get to the eyes, the ears, the nose. You probably can't do much tongue unless anyone has chewing gum or something. But at least the other, they're like under-practiced. And that's why we get in so much trouble when we see things through our eye or ear. When we see things through our ear, no. When we see with the eye, hear from the ear, smell with the nose. But most importantly, the thoughts that come to our mind. So we'll work a bit with those too. So because throughout the whole meditation, I'll be kind of talking to guide it through all of those senses. I won't talk too much at the beginning. And let's just do it. I feel like I've been talking all day. So let's just meditate. So if you'd like to already, some of you look like you're in a very nice, comfortable position. And if you're not, please adjust accordingly. I will put on a beanie because I'm cold. And so feel your body sitting on whatever you're sitting on. Feel the contact where your bottom meets the chair, the cushion. Is it balanced? Is it painful in any way? So go to a feeling where you actually feel some discomfort in your body. It could be wherever. It's going to be different for different people. It could be only a slight discomfort or a major one. If you don't want to work with something that's too painful, you can find something milder. Our bodies can hurt in many places all at once, let me tell you. So focus on something that you'd like to for now. And notice if you're sort of clenching around that discomfort. And see if that itself is a kind of discomfort. The clenching itself, does that feel pleasant or unpleasant? So what happens if you just stay with that feeling of discomfort? But staying in a way that feels open, not staying, gritting your teeth, but sort of just seeing, well, what's it like? How does it move? How long does it last? Are you thinking anything around this feeling? What am I going to do to make it stop? What's causing it? What are the thoughts you're having around this discomfort or unpleasant physical sensation? What happens to it when you think those thoughts or repeat those thoughts in your mind? And then we can just move on, or you might have found out the feeling has moved on. So now move on to a different part of the body where you might be feeling something pleasant. Maybe you like the feel of the fan blowing some cool air into your face, or whatever it is that you find pleasant in the moment in your body right now. Do you notice any reaction to it? Are you waiting for the next time the fan blade blows another waft of cold air towards you? Do you have any aversion to the cold air? Just notice your reactions and how those reactions manifest in your body. So where do you feel it in your body? Is that feeling pleasant or unpleasant? Or neutral? Whether it's craving, whether it's aversion, does it feel pleasant or unpleasant? And can we relax with that unpleasant feeling and not push it away? So as our eyes are closed, maybe we can now turn attention to our ears. What do you hear? I mean, we're in a pretty quiet room, but I can hear the roar of the distant cars on nearby streets. What can you hear? Just pick one sound, one noise. And notice your reaction to it, if you have one. So does that sound felt by you as pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? you have craving, aversion, or indifference come up. How do you know? How does it manifest? How does it feel in your body? Now, what happens if you imagine sending loving kindness to that feeling? Just in the sense of, as Ajahn Brahm says, opening the door of your heart, opening yourself to it, letting it be, letting it stay, letting it do whatever it wants to do. So that even an unpleasant feeling in the body doesn't have to be some kind of enemy you have to fight against. Just a feeling. Just a feeling. You can try it again. Sometimes it happens so quick you can't quite put your finger on it. So try again. See what the sound feels like to you. See if you have any reaction to it. Feel it in your body. Then have a sense of friendliness and openness and kindness to that feeling. What effect does that have on it and on your mind? So as you do this again and again, because the sound, it keeps coming, it's a new sound every second. So you can keep practicing like that. And even in this short time, you might notice a shift in how you experience that sound. The noise of the cars might have first been annoying. It's meditation time. You don't want this background noise. It might have felt disturbing. But after some time of being with the sound, being with the reaction, being with the unpleasant feeling in your body that comes up, and then opening to it and feeling at ease with it, the sound might become actually a neutral experience, or even a subtly pleasant experience where it's kind of like a calming kind of white noise. What's happening for you? Notice that. So now we can try going to the nose. It's kind of hard in this room. I don't really smell anything too obvious. So then just that experience of smelling a neutral smell. I don't know if maybe some of you can smell something you find pleasant or unpleasant. You can work with that as well. But even noticing neutral feeling, what happens to us when we experience something as bland as unscented air. We don't even notice it, right? If I weren't guiding this meditation, I wouldn't have even noticed what was going on with my nose. Sometimes that doesn't mean that's dullness or ignorance, but it's just that you're paying attention to another sense organ, like your mind. But when we're consciously working with the nose now, just see if your reaction is one of, whatever, couldn't care less. Or if it's one of actually being really mindful and clearly aware of the experience of neither pleasant or unpleasant. And being really alive to it. Actually, how does a neutral feeling manifest in your body? So bland you almost might miss it. So let's bring awareness to it. So actually, when we're really mindful and aware of a neutral feeling, do you notice that it can calm your mind? It's kind of a soothing experience. You'll notice that's why, like in hospitals, they paint the walls a neutral color rather than a really loud red or, I don't know, orange. They use neutral colors because it's soothing and calming to the patients. So notice how a neutral smell can be soothing and calming to your mind. Now if we go to the tongue, we're not really eating anything right now or drinking anything. So again, this might be an experience of neutral feeling. You might taste the subtle taste of your own saliva. Actually bring awareness to that. What does saliva taste like? For some people, it might be slightly acidic. For some people, not. Do you have any kind of reaction to it? Even if it's a reaction of, gosh, this is pretty boring, I want to eat something to have a bit of enjoyment or excitement happening through my taste, sense faculty, sense organ, sense base, whatever you want to call it. Or do I enjoy this kind of calm of neutral feeling? But bringing awareness to it so it's not just a dull indifference. How long can you stay with a neutral feeling before you find it so boring you have to think something? How many of you have already wandered off into thinking? Just notice that relationship. See if you can come back to the feeling of the experience of a neutral feeling. And again, notice how long it takes before you escape the boring by going into the thinking, the creating. So if you're thinking, what are you thinking about? Are you thinking about something that's giving rise to any craving for sensual desires or any aversion? Nothing wrong with that, just notice. Notice what's your tendency. What do you do when your mind is free to wander? Where do you like to wander? And notice the physical sensation that comes with those thoughts. If your mindfulness is really sharp, you can even see the craving to think, that precedes those thoughts. So now let's do an experiment where you consciously bring to mind something. So let's work first with, people worry about anger a lot, so let's work with something that brings up aversion. So for you, whatever it is, that just the thought of it already brings up a kind of feeling of aversion. If you don't really have anything, well, just try something that brings up a little bit of aversion. So just thinking about it, how quickly does the aversion reaction come up for you? And how does that feel? If you have mild aversion, how does that feel? Where is it in your body? What does it feel like? And if you have strong aversion, it's probably pretty obvious. But again, where do you feel it? What does it actually, if you could describe it, what does it feel like? Is it a tightening? Is it a contraction? Is it a warmth? A burning sensation in your tummy, or what is it? And then are you reacting to that with more aversion? And if you catch that, what happens if you're just going to be with it? Just let yourself feel unpleasantness for a little while. It's not going to kill you. What happens if you just be with it? Or are kind to it? Or open to it? And whatever word works for you, that allows you to just experience it and observe what happens to that feeling as it moves throughout your body, moves through your body. So let's try that again. And this time, after you bring up the thought of this person or thing or whatever it is that you feel aversion to, notice how quickly you think another thought about it that reinforces that, oh, this person is so annoying, or that thing is so horrible, or how quickly does it go to a second thought and a third thought? Or maybe it's already gone a whole paragraph, but what happens when you're like, hey, I'm thinking unwholesome thoughts, not helpful for me, not helpful for my happiness? Are you able to actually cut it off? Is there some momentum there? Just an experiment, see what happens for you. So if reflection is not really helping, see if you can stop the thought by simply turning to your physical sensation. That might be what you need to do now rather than reflecting. So see if that works. So part of practicing sense restraint is becoming sensitive to what the mind needs in order to either prevent unwholesome thoughts or stop them from continuing if they've already arisen. So this is something a guided meditation can't do. This can only play around with it. But in your own time, in your own space, you can experiment and see when your mind feels a certain way, how does your body feel? When your body feels that certain way, what kind of practice seems to work? And then you will develop a feel for it over time. And you know when's the right time to just relax the feeling in your body. And when the mind is ready to use reflection and contemplation. This is just an opening or an invitation for you to continue that kind of investigation in your own practice. So now we'll do the same with some kind of thought of an object that brings up some craving. Whatever it is that is your weakness, so to speak. You just think of it and already you're like, oh, I'd like that. Yeah, see how fast it comes on? And see how strong it comes on for you with that particular object that you conjure in your mind. So that question is, does craving feel pleasant or unpleasant? That's not something you can think about. You'll only know the answer from feeling it. So feel it, this object that you're craving. The experience of craving, for you, is it pleasant or unpleasant? Is it a physical feeling of pleasant sensation or unpleasant? And then, what happens if you just relax with that feeling? Just like with an aversive feeling, if we can just learn to relax with the physical manifestation in our body. See it shift, flow, move on without any effort on our part. And once the feeling has moved on, do you still feel like you need to go out and get that thing? Or to consume it? Or even to fantasize about it anymore? Immediately after the feeling is gone, maybe you don't. But if you think about it again, and you don't actually give yourself space to feel the physical manifestation of it, you might go out and get that thing or eat it or whatever. So after this meditation, maybe at dinner time, you can try and experiment with whatever it is you normally like to eat. See this process actually happening in real life, in real time, with the real object, not just a mental one. So finally, we can just bring some awareness to what it is that just happened during this meditation, what it is you might have learned, or glimpses of insights you might have had, and how your sense organs operate. What happens when there is contact at any of them, and how we respond to the feelings that arise, the feelings as they manifest in our body. What's the difference when we are able to let them be, and when we can't? Just reflecting back. See if your mind has actually become calmer through this whole exercise. Even though we haven't gone deeper, like in breath meditation. See if bringing awareness to your senses and what your experience is in the present moment in regard to your senses, if that brings any peace and clarity to your mind. Seeing that that is another possibility in how we can practice and develop mindfulness, situational awareness on the cushion and off the cushion. So I think we're supposed to stop at 3:45, so I will just end with a short sharing of merits. So every time we finish a meditation sitting, we can always connect our practice to something bigger than ourselves, a purpose wider than our own happiness. But wish that our practice, as Ajahn Brahmali said at lunchtime, brings happiness to the world at large. Brings happiness not just to ourselves, the people around us, the people we know, but just an energy of wholesomeness and goodness and the happiness that brings to the wider world, to the universe. So in this way, we share the so-called merits. What's that? Sharing the benefits, the peace, the happiness of our practice with all beings. So may all beings be well and happy, be free from all suffering, live with ease, and be fully and truly liberated. So whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes and deal with the sense contact that comes to your eyes. So I guess we open for questions now. So anyone in the room, if you have anything to ask, or if you want to just keep meditating, that's okay too. Is it 4 we end, Lehar, or what's the? I forgot the format. Do we have Q&A till 4 p.m. or? Huh? Yes. Until 4, right? Okay. So, yes. I take it a good sign when people don't have questions. Oh, okay. I also take it as a good sign when people have questions. So. Sorry, I can't hear you yet.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, just, sorry. When I meditate, my body tends to kind of jerk around a little bit, and I was just wondering if that's something that is, you just go, I just go with it, but is that kind of
it kind of just bounces? It bounces?
Yeah, just
like jerks.
Just jerks, yeah.
Oh. Yeah, all sorts of things can happen when you meditate. So sometimes you have some kind of energy that's been stuck in your body, and maybe through the relaxation you're able to bring through meditation, it allows that energy to express itself. Maybe you've been holding it in, and then it's just like, oh, release. And so maybe that can cause a jerking. I don't actually know, but I'm just saying that no matter what happens in your meditation, the whatever cure-all or the standard thing you can apply to anything is well, no big deal. It's just something.
That's what I do.
It's just something, and
just interested.
And just bring awareness to it. And if you bring awareness to whatever experience, and you're not you're practicing sense restraint, and you're not leading into craving or aversion, and you're just being able to be sort of equanimous with it, can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. So jerk away. I see an iPad coming. Thank you. Okay. Okay, I'm a beginner and I have strong difficulties with actually starting to meditate and make it a practice. How can I trick my mind into wanting to stop what it's doing and just sit in meditation instead? Indeed. I struggled with this for years when I was starting to meditate, and I knew it was good, and I kind of liked it when it happened. But yeah, it was really hard. Really hard to actually stick to it, because like anything, there's always something else you find more important if you don't actually find this more important. So really, the only way I think that would really have, really work in the long term, aside from making New Year's resolutions and having a meditation buddy and all this stuff, that kind of helps. But what you've got to do is actually meditate a little bit and just do a little bit each day until you start feeling some kind of benefit from it. I would say even in your first sitting, honestly, when you just take one deep breath in the middle of a stressful moment or stressful day, anyone can do that. Doesn't that bring you a bit of relief already? Like one breath? So if that's all you can handle as your meditation, resolution for the day, just take one breath and notice its benefit. And you will naturally be motivated. Oh, I'm going to do another breath tomorrow. Yeah. And then the more you do it, you're going to actually want to do 2 breaths and 3 breaths. And so just start humble, but notice the benefit. And I remember the story Ajahn Brahm told, which I thought, oh, very good story. I think he was some young traveling days, and he went to Paris, and there was, I don't know why these details matter, but I remember them. And then, he met some guy at the Eiffel Tower, and they, had coffee on the sidewalk, al fresco, as you do in Paris. And he said that the guy was also a meditator, so they had stuff to talk about. And Ajahn Brahm even said, yeah, it was hard for him to do it every day and start a daily practice. So come on, everyone starts from that. And the French guy or the other guy, whatever he was, he said, oh, every time you meditate, at the end, you should ask yourself, oh, what benefit did I experience, if anything? Is there any difference at the end than when I first began? Such a simple question. It's not a loaded question, just is there any difference at the end than when I first began? And if you honestly answer the question, it'll be like, I think I do feel a little better. Like even from one breath, you can notice you kind of feel a bit better. So every time you reflect like that at the end of your meditation sitting, no matter how short it is, you might think, oh, it doesn't count, it's only 2 minutes. But if you notice the subtle benefit, that will encourage you and motivate you just naturally, without any force, to sit longer. So for me, I finally was able to establish a daily practice after I went to a 10-day retreat. I'd been to 7-day retreat, 3-day retreat before, but it was only my first 10-day retreat when I really felt, oh, how nice when the mind is not constantly singing. I mean, a little bit here and there, but, and how nice it is when there's a bit of, just equanimity and like more easily touch into the kindness inside of yourself. And you're like, wow, I want to preserve this. I want to keep meditating because this is so nice. So that's when I was finally able to establish a daily practice, when I really, experienced enough benefit to motivate me to keep going. So I think that is the best method. But you can't force it, right? So don't sit for any longer than you really feel is, like comfortable for you. You can push the envelope a little bit, but start humble and start consistent. That's most important. Okay, question from the UK. Ajahn, the Buddha said anger arises from focusing on a repulsive object. What should we do when that repulsive object arises during meditation? Thanks. Oh, we just did that today on purpose. We actually intentionally brought up a repulsive object. That seems a bit harsh language. Maybe an object, like I said, an object of aversion. But even if you bring up a repulsive object, or it shows up in your mind because I don't know what it is that you consider a repulsive object, sometimes something that we've been, worked up about in our day comes up in our mind when we meditate, and so that repulsive object comes up. So what do we do with it? Well, here's our chance. Here's our chance to actually bring some awareness to it. Bring some, like in the day, you're just like, okay, whatever, you brush it off, you move on to your next thing and finish your tasks and whatever. And so you haven't quite processed that repulsive object that had come into your, into your life during the day. So when you meditate, and this is another reason why it's good to have a daily practice, is because you can process all of those difficult things that come up during the day, and they don't just get stuffed somewhere into your, big pile of random unprocessed repressed emotions, and so you can bring it, you don't even have to bring it up, it'll come up in your mind when you have a bit of space for it to come up. And then you do that same simple practice of like, okay, how does it make me feel? How does it feel in my body? Can I be with that feeling without reacting to that feeling? And when I'm able to be with that feeling with openness, kindness, equanimity, whatever angle you want to take on it, and be able to like sit with it until it passes, then what does that do to my level of aversion to that thing? You can notice that. And you don't have to like analyze, like, oh, why do I hate this thing? Or why does it build up? Forget it, just go to your body and it's simpler. And then when you're calmed down, you can kind of be like, oh, okay, what perceptions do I have that make me find this object so repulsive? I mean, like if it's a person that you don't like, it's like, why do they have friends? You're like, how can it be? It seems like completely like, like unfathomable what people can like in this person, but they obviously do. These people have friends, and so, then you can try to shift your perceptions and, not just be stuck on your one perception of fixed perception of anyone or anything, and kind of try to see things from different angles. Because when your mind is more calm and soft, it can be more flexible. Then it's able to do that. But when your mind is too, it's either too disturbed or it's too caught up in rigidity. I am right. We know that one, right? Because we're always right. But when it's rigid like that, it can't shift the perceptions. There's no movement possible. You're just stuck in your perception box. And then that's where the repulsion continues. So yeah, develop some kind of learning how to relate to the object in a more beneficial way in our meditation allows us to develop the flexibility to play with our perceptions. So that would be my answer for that one. Hope that helps. And then question from Germany. Dear Ajahn, what is a feeling? If there is no self, how can there be feelings? Thank you kindly. Yeah, that's the problem with English. Everybody learn Pali. Because English, it doesn't do it justice. You know, feeling, what is it? It's like sometimes it's used to explain emotional state, sometimes it's used to explain just sensation, a physical sensation, you know? So when I'm talking about feeling, I'm talking about, the way I was using it today in talking about sense restraint is just the affective tone. I don't know if that's a more complicated word, but you know that whether it's pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, is your experience, does it feel pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral in that sense? Not like, do I feel angry or sad about it, but what's the tone of it? And if there is no self, how can there be feelings? Well, feelings are feelings, period. That's, you know, you don't have to have a self to feel feelings. They exist. Only consciousness has to know. All you need is consciousness to be aware of the feelings, and you've got feelings. So whether you have an overlay of a sense of self or you're an arahant, you have no sense of self. An arahant still feels things. They experience the world. They still live in, you know, a world where they are seeing things, hearing things, touching things, smelling things, you know, tasting things. And those different sense contexts will bring up a pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral tone. It's something experienced just by the nature of having sense bases and consciousness. So you don't have to have a self, you know, to have feelings in that sense. You don't have to have a self to even have feelings in the English word sense, anger or sadness, whatever. These are all experiences that you just, they will exist or be known as long as you have consciousness. So really, the thing is, as long as you have consciousness, you're going to have any of the other 5 khandhas, any of the other, the 4 other khandhas. So, so don't worry. If you have a self and you have feelings, that's the same as if you don't have, you've seen non-self, you'll still have feelings, the so-called you. Oh, talking about non-self and feelings, these are all such confusing words in English, but that's the best I can do, so hope that helped. So. Okay, it's 4 on the dot. Yes, one more.
One more. So when we are thinking, meditating, should we focus on something positive? Because I noticed that I'm focusing on the thing that I want to not think. So will it lead it into more cravings?
Will it what? Sorry?
Like cravings? Will it? Because it feels me peaceful with the thought, but then again, I don't want that thought. So will it lead to cravings?
If you want the thought.
If I think of it during meditation.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, see, meditation is a very broad word. you know, if you define meditation as sort of bringing mindfulness or awareness or whatever, the knowingness of whatever you're experiencing, you can experience craving and then, you know, explore that experience. The mind is so fast. Like in the moment of craving, it's unwholesome. But in the next little moment, you know, just 1 microsecond or whatever it is, you know, you can have the knowingness that knows you just had craving. And then you can experience the craving leads to some physical manifestations that last beyond just that initial, you know, sense impact. And so then you can become aware of those feelings, and then you kind of get to know what craving actually feels like. Because then it's like you can't be like, I don't want to have craving in my meditation, because then you'll never understand what craving actually feels like. And craving feels like crap. Craving is actually, it doesn't feel good. So like then you'll be, if you actually have that experience of, you know, knowing that actually craving is a very unpleasant experience, then you'll be less likely to entertain your cravings. Especially when you see that one craving, once satisfied, leads to another craving and then another craving. And so then it's only through your experience, through so-called meditation, that you can develop that understanding. So yeah, it's like everything is meditation in that sense. Yeah. So,
thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Up. Is that Uncle Eddie back there? I'm getting blind, I'm getting deaf, I'm only 47, I don't know what's happening to me. Yeah, okay.
Ajahn Munissara, can you tell us something between the similarities or differences between meditation and personal quiet chanting?
Personal quiet chanting?
Yeah, just like Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani
Oh.
Padme Hum, thing.
I mean, that's also, you know, like it depends how you define meditation. For me, I consider meditation a broad word that includes any kind of mental cultivation. Meditation, you know, often connotes like cultivating mindfulness and states of, you know, stillness, you know, so you can use that framework. But mantra practice is like such a big practice in all schools of Buddhism. I mean, what is Buddho but a mantra? What is Om Mani Padme Hum? It's a mantra. You know, in Chinese, they might do, you know, some kind of Kuan Yin mantra or something. Everybody uses mantras because it's effective. The wisdom of the ages has shown us that, you know, we have a mind that likes to think. So let it think a wholesome, repeated thing. And it'll take up the space in our mind from our random proliferations and then just be like, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, you know. And then it'll keep your mind, you know, at least from being dispersed and distracted enough. It's not completely silent yet because you got Om Mani Padme Hum going, but at least it's a very kind of focused kind of a thinking track. And it's also, if you know the meaning, or even if you don't know the meaning, mantras can be very calming. Especially, I find when a mantra is in a foreign language, it can be very calming. Because I'm doing this in Dhamma school tomorrow. I'm milking it for all it's worth. But any Chinese speakers here, Auntie Burr, you know, 南无本师释迦牟尼佛.
Oh, yeah.
You know? You're like, at first we were doing this, I went to this monastery in America where they're doing Tibetan, Chinese chanting, all sorts of chanting. And at first I was like, they were just doing it. And I was like, it's so calming. It's so calming. And then I'm like, why are they just showing me the pinyin? What does it actually mean? And then I figured out from the just, they didn't match the words, but I figured out from the English translation that it's homage to our fundamental teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. And I was like, oh, Namo Ben Shu must mean fundamental because Shutyamuni is Shakyamuni. I was like, oh, Shutyamuni, I know that guy, Shakyamuni. And then Fo is Buddha. So then when I knew the meaning and it had sort of a calming tone to it, then doing it over and over again, it kind of made me calmer than like doing breath meditation sometimes, frankly. So you have to know what your mind needs. When your mind is a bit active and you can't go straight to something subtle like a meditation, mantra practice is very useful meditation.
Yes.
And it's and it can be very kind of emotional. It touches a part of us that's not intellectual. And it can also, if you're reflecting on the qualities of the Buddha, it can also be something that kind of, it touches into those qualities you have in yourself. So you can do it at many levels. Come to Dhamma school tomorrow. I'm totally doing this tomorrow with the kids. So if you're interested, what is it, 8:30 in the morning, 9? What is it, 8:30 in the morning? Yeah, so we can explore how we can use mantra on different levels. But yeah, I think it's it's a great meditation practice. And sometimes your mind becomes so peaceful, it drops the mantra. That's what they always say about Buddha. You use Buddha, Buddha, Buddha at first, or you use whatever mantra. Then after a while, your mind is so peaceful, it just naturally drops it. And then it's ready to be with a more subtle meditation object. And then it's sort of a doorway to other practices too. So yeah, that's a reason why Om Mani Padme Hum is so popular. It's effective. Yes.
Just one quickly one. Recently, I came here, to do meditation here. It was only 2-3 weeks ago, I think. Yeah, and this guy was here, here. He was playing this meditation music, It was so very good, Then I said, no, you keep going on, Then after that, I talked to him. He says, you Google meditation music, okay? And then the first one, you get it, So when I went back, I Googled the meditation music, and a few came out, and I chose the one which similar to what he, And then I played. It was so soothing, In fact, I was going to ask Ajahn Brahm during his talk now I ask you, it's a meditation music, It's so very calming to when you listen to it. Extremely calming.
Yeah, you know, I feel it.
But it's only I talk to you now. But if you really listen to it, then you will know.
Yeah, I don't know which meditation music. There's many kinds.
There's
many kinds. Yeah.
Yeah, depending how it suits you, you know. This one is got. I can't describe it.
You'll have to
Google
send me the link.
anybody here. Google meditation music, and then choose the one you like. Then you play this thing, and then you can see it's very so relaxing. You know, I find.
Yeah, it depends on, if it's kind of a not so melodic, no instruments kind of
No, it's
music.
just like a bell, ding, ding.
I mean, frankly, it sounds like a lot of the bells, the use of bell
Just a
instruments
little
in chanting.
Background, soft bell, very nice.
They
Very
have an
simple.
effect, you know. This is why monasteries in all traditions all over the world, they have bells. Because there's something about the resounding sound of a bell. It's so peaceful. Because you know why? It brings you into the present moment so easily. You just stay with the resonance of the sound. I remember one meditation retreat I went to, Plum Village style, and it was like I was in such a distraught state of mind. I was like, the only thing I could do was listen to the bell. You know, I was like, all this meditation is like whatever. But whenever they just rung the bell at the beginning of the meditation, or at the end, I'm like, I'm in the present moment. I'm peaceful. So bells sound, you know, I feel you can't make generalizations like, oh, meditation music is bad or whatever. Because honestly, if you listen to so much of the chanting and even Theravada, like so much of it is like, it's very sing-song. Let me tell you, like, especially Sri Lankan chanting. You know, there's a lot of up and down. There's a melody there. Let's be honest. And so that is actually can be very calming. So we see what happens in your mind. But if it ends up beginning to be a tune, this happens to me. Even Om Mani Padme Hum can be perverted into a tune. If you start feeling, when I start catching myself saying, it's not a song. It's like, Namo Ben Shi Shi Tia Moni Fu, Namo Ben Shi Shi Tia Moni Fu. Wait, it's not a song. And you have to come back to like, no, where is my mind going with this? And then you're the one who knows whether you're using it as meditation music or meditation mantra. And that's something which we have to track for ourselves. So if it's helping us develop truly peaceful, calm, bright states, then yay, go for it. But if it's not, then, you know, you can pervert anything. Yes, sure. Okay, no more customers. That's okay. Maybe it's time to call it a day. Call it a day. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody, for your questions. And now we will bow out. I have a knee injury, so I will not kneel. I will just bow out standing, but everybody bow out normally if you can.